So, welcome to day 3 of the 3-day challenge. Today is the day where we jump into how to accelerate and really start manifesting your dreams and desires at a much quicker speed than you've ever done before. So before we jump into this, it's always wise for us to do a recap, particularly if you've spent a couple of days, in between videos, if you're not quite sure. We'll just do a quick recap so that we can bring the whole lot together. So day 1, we started to explore the design and get clear on your vision. And that's probably stuff that we've all done before. People often, the first step of manifesting is knowing what you want. But the key to that was the step beyond that. And that was actually looking at when you're actually there and you've achieved everything that you would love to get, and you've manifested and created this ideal life. What next? Because what that does is that's what actually removes a significant chunk of the subconscious blocks. Because if we can't see what's next, we will, there's two things that I see. I see people either procrastinate, or I see people go much slower than they need to. So if you've ever had a vision or had a goal and you found that even though you felt like it was on its way, it felt like it was taking a lot longer than you anticipated, that would be what I would recommend for you. So if that's you, that's the step. Go back to day 1 and really focus in on that. There's so much magic in that. I cannot even describe what a gem this is. If you do the exercise, there's some amazing insights that await you on the other side. And what that also does is it also takes a goal that started feeling this big and brings it back into perspective. So this is all, all we're doing is manipulating your mind and the way that you see the world to bring things back into perspective. Because when you have a small goal to achieve, you just go, yeah, of course I'm going to do that. But when we have a big goal, that's when fear and all the other stuff starts to jump in. So that was day 1. Yesterday, day 2, is where we started to look at, the blocks. We only spent half an hour on yesterday, but in reality, this is in the mastermind program. This is where we spend the majority of our time. We spend a big chunk looking at values and making sure that everything's aligned up. First of all, now there's 3 fantasies when it comes to setting goals that I often see, and the first one is that people have. They set a goal that is just one-sided. They set a goal that, I'm going to have this successful business and make all this money, but they don't actually look at the work and the effort and what they're actually going to have to sacrifice in order to do that. Or they have, a fantasy of losing heaps of weight and getting the body that they want, but they're not really prepared to put in the hours, and stop eating junk food and putting in the hours at the gym required. So whenever we have a goal that is one-sided, we are automatically setting ourselves up for failure, for procrastination, for self-sabotage, for all of those things. So the first thing is to ensure that part of removing our blocks is ensuring that our goal is actually centered and that we're willing to embrace both sides, which is this over here, that we're willing to embrace both pleasure and pain in order to realize the vision. The next thing that I see that people do is that they don't align it with their value systems. And so yesterday I asked you to jot down what your top 3 values were. And again, in the mastermind program, we go into this in so much more detail. In fact, I personally now make sure that I one-on-one that we go through it and that you know what your values are. If anyone is interested in knowing more about values, flick me a message. There are details in the Facebook group where there is a values worksheet that you can do. And so if you're not sure what your values are, it's one of the most important things that you can know about yourself is values. So we did that. But then the third thing and this is what we're going to be focusing on today, is the third thing that people do is that they have a goal where they're willing to embrace pain and pleasure. They're willing to, they know that it's in alignment with who they are, but then there's no strategy attached. And if there's no strategy or action plan, you will still find that fear, self-doubt, self-sabotage, because you don't actually have the steps laid out in front of you. Now, you don't need to know every single step. You just need to know the next couple of steps. No different to if you're walking down a pathway in the middle of the night with just a torch. You don't need to know exactly where the path goes. You just need to know roughly what direction you're heading in. You need to know where the end destination is, and that's your goal. But the flashlight will just essentially illuminate a few steps in front of you. So when we do this, we don't overwhelm ourselves, but it's still important to know exactly where you're going in those next few steps. So that is what we're focusing on today. Now, last night I asked you, as part of the challenge, was to start to look at some of those belief systems that you have. And so if anyone that's on the call right now, if you have any questions or any insights about that, just put your hand up, let me know, unmute yourself. I always love finding out what belief systems people have. At this point, I'm going to invite you, every single one of you that is watching this challenge. I know that a bunch of the spots have already been taken, so thank you for those that have already booked in calls. Book in a call. I can't stress what an opportunity this is, and this is where we can start to look at some of the belief systems that are blocking you. We can start to ensure that are your goals in alignment. This is a genuine opportunity, and I've never done this before, and I'm not sure that I will necessarily do it again. It's a big commitment from me, and I am offering this at no charge, so take advantage. This is a real opportunity. In the past, when I've done these challenges, I've just picked one person each day, but then I thought, well, that's, lots of people wanted the opportunity of having that experience. So I'm giving it to you. I'm in a very generous mood. Life has been very kind to me, and this is my way of paying it forward. So it's no obligation. It's totally complimentary. And then also, if you do have any questions about the upcoming mastermind, you can ask me those as well. So, accelerating. This is where we get into the action plan. But one of the most fundamental part of the action plan is actually working out who is it that I need to be. So the first part of the action plan is still mindset work, but nonetheless very, very important. So who do you need to be? Who do you choose to be in order to manifest and to realize and to build and to create and to attract this vision? So you don't get what you do, you get who you be. Write that down. You don't get what you do, you get who you be. And what I mean by that is that if you are somebody you find that you're in, like, this will be particularly relevant to those that are in overwhelm. Okay, so if you are in overwhelm, you need to listen to this part really, really clearly, okay? Doing more is not going to get you out of this hole that you've built for yourself, okay? Doing more, you've already tried doing that and it's not working. You're still in overwhelm and things are still not going and life is still not enjoyable, right? So if you are in overwhelm, it's not about doing more. It's about working out, who do I need to be in order to realize this vision? And that is, what do I prioritize? How do I think? How do I set my day up? How do I dress? How do I interact with people? What do I tolerate? And where are my boundaries? And how do I actually communicate those boundaries with people? Do I just say yes to everything, or am I very discerning in the decisions and what decisions I make? Do I react when I speak, or do I take in information, evaluate it, and then speak with certainty? So it's about working out who is that version of you that is at that next level, okay? Because the person that you're at right now, have a look around you. This is what you're attracting. Are you ready to go to the next level? And are you actually willing to let go of some of those parts of yourself that maybe aren't working for yourself? Are you willing to be that person that operates at that next level? So there has to be a part of you that's willing to change. There must be a part of you that's willing to drop the victim mindset and actually take ownership that I am going to show up into the world as the very best version of myself each and every day. Now, the best version of yourself may change from day to day. We're not, we don't have to be completely consistent and we're a robot. Some days the very best version of yourself, may be completely different to, another day. But it's what does that best version of yourself look like on a day-to-day basis? Journal on this. Okay, absolutely journal on this. Like, how do you interact? How do you think? How do you do things? When you know what this version of you looks like, and really start to feel what that looks like, and feel how that's different to the version that you've been up until now. Okay, this this is absolutely key. Now, what this does is that when you journal on this, and this is tonight's challenge, when you journal on this actually gets you into that state that you start to feel what that version of you feels like. Now, up until now, this is like the mindset foundation in manifesting is about 80% of the game, okay? But there's still another part to this, and that is the action steps, okay? So once you've journaled on that, the next part is, like, we've done the inner work, but it is the outer work. Like, I remember when The Secret first came out. Do you all remember that book, The Secret, and how people thought that they could just sit there and meditate on, you know, $1 million check, you know, getting dropped into their letterbox, and then they'd wonder why didn't this happen? Dr. John DeMartini, who's on The Secret, who's also a friend of mine, a mentor, his main thing was people need to take action. And he said, and that really was the secret that was left out of The Secret, was that you actually have to get off the couch, you have to turn Netflix off and take action. Now, when you take action, it doesn't need to be perfect action. Like, don't set yourself up for that. Take imperfect action towards your dreams. Now, part of what I do, this is my secret weapon. I have these cards everywhere. You can just get them from Officeworks or any sort of stationery shop. And each and every day I write down my top priority action steps to get me closer to my dreams. Okay. And some days they are big and they are huge things that I'm ticking off. And other days they're essential things that need to be done. I look at that list every day and I ask, what can I delegate off this? If there's anything that's low priority, can I delegate this to someone else? Okay. And what can I do to focus purely on my high priority action steps that are going to get me closer to my dreams? Now, if you do that each and every day, some magical things will happen. First of all, you'll actually start moving closer to your dreams. The second thing that it will do, however, and this is really important, is if you spend just a little bit more time each day doing things that are meaningful to you and that are fulfilling, and this is why it's important to have goals and visions that are in alignment with our values, you'll start to, at the end of the day, feel more satisfied. You'll have a sense of fulfillment, a sense of achievement, because you've done something that was meaningful to you. Now, a byproduct of this is that your self-worth naturally increases. Okay, so when we're looking at self-worth, now in the mastermind program, there are some direct approaches that I do take with people to increase their self-worth, but this is a more indirect approach. Doing things that are valuable and meaningful to you increases your self-worth. In fact, Beck, you're probably a good example. Since you started doing your business, did you just notice just doing things that you love, did that increase your self-worth naturally? Yeah, absolutely. Like like the person that I see before me since you've embarked on that is just, you shine. It's just so beautiful to see. You're such a beautiful example of that. So when we do this, our self-worth naturally increases. Okay. The other thing as well is it's only through taking action that we can start to identify where our blocks are and where our resistance is and where our belief systems that are incongruent. So last night I asked you to write down your belief systems that were incongruent and what you needed to do to actually overcome them. But it's only through taking consistent action in the direction of our dreams that we start to uncover where those little insidious belief systems are lurking in the shadows, and then how to take action. Now, I also want to, I guess, out myself here, let you guys all know that belief systems are an ongoing process, okay? As you grow, as you take action, this is something that requires consistent work, consistent support, and consistent accountability. If last night you wrote down a bunch of belief systems, there's two things that I want you to do. If you've got belief systems and you go, oh my goodness, I didn't even recognize that they were here, it is essential, book in a call this week while you still have this opportunity. I will help you uncover this, but let me know as soon as you get on the call that that's what you want to spend your time with, okay? They only take a few minutes to uncover. The other thing as well is that if you're embarking on a new venture, if you've got a goal, if you've got a vision that is big and scares the shit out of you, I would encourage you, get on the phone to me and let's talk about the mastermind program, because I know and I'm certain of this, that significant change requires ongoing support and accountability. Okay, it simply does. It's too easy to fall back into bad habits and old patterns. And for many of us, we're in holding patterns. We're just in holding patterns. So we can change your pattern to be one that is constantly striving and expanding, or you can keep in this holding pattern that you're in now, which is just basically Groundhog Day. And you make little changes year to year, but nothing really significant, nothing too fulfilling. If you're done with that, if you're ready to make changes, if you're ready to really start making life an exciting adventure rather than just mundane and boring, then this is your opportunity. You made a commitment 2 days ago to let that be the day that things were going to change. So it's time to do this. So this is what we do. So get yourself some of these cards. I mean, I've got other systems. You can use it in your phone, but there's something kind of special about actually writing it down on paper. And the other thing as well is that each time you do one of the tasks, you just put a line through it. That releases endorphins and dopamine and all the feel-good hormones, which means that you're more likely to consistently do this each day. And all of a sudden, you're getting positive feedback, and your internal feedback loop is rewarding you for achieving these tasks, which is just another thing that is going to add another layer to help you be consistent to do this every day. So it's all about actually utilizing the fact that we know that our brain works on a feedback loop, that our brain loves patterns and consistent behavior, and it loves being rewarded. So we're just utilizing this system to actually harness your natural inclination, so that you can get going and that you're really inspired to do these tasks each day. Okay, so when you get into this zone, when you really design your life and expand your vision, and when you consistently are taking out the resistance and overcoming the beliefs and overcoming the stress, the stress is another thing as well that stops us in our tracks. It's no different to, say, for example, if your laundry was on fire, you wouldn't be sitting there with an interior designer, working out how to remodel your kitchen. You'd be focusing on putting the fire out. And this is what stress does to us. It continuously, it steals our focus. It steals our focus away from our big vision and stops us from doing things that are meaningful to us. So just by reframing the way that we see the world, we can completely transform our experience of stress and see it as being something that's on the way and not in the way. Because when we do this, it's no different to, most of us have smartphones, iPhones or other ones. If you can remember back to your very first phone, if you were running that same software right now, or even if you had that same phone and you were trying to even run this program, run social media, collect emails, what you'd possibly find, or not possibly, what you'd absolutely find is that your phone either wouldn't be able to operate with the new systems or would be constantly crashing, okay? And this is what happens to us when we're not dealing with our stress, when we're not constantly upgrading our belief systems to something that's serving us. When we're not doing this, go easy on yourself. If you haven't done this up until now on a consistent basis, you will crash. You will go much slower than you're capable of. So what this is about is actually upgrading your operating systems so that you can handle the current pace, so that you can handle the way that life is for you right now and actually zoom ahead. If your phone was operating on old software, you wouldn't be beating it up and telling it that it's no good and it's not worthy and it doesn't deserve this. You'd just go, I just need to upgrade it. Like you wouldn't make a whole story about how this is a bad phone. It's not worthy of being loved. It's not worthy of success. It never gets what it wants. You wouldn't make up those stories. You just go, it's just running on old software. It just needs a new program. So I encourage you, don't beat yourself up if you're just running on old software. It's not your fault. This was programmed into you decades and decades ago because it served you when you were a kid and when you're a teenager. You live in a different world now, so it's time to upgrade. So this is your moment to shine. Please don't let another year pass you by without achieving all of your dreams. And there's a couple of things that I'd love to ask of you right now is that if you have enjoyed this 3-day challenge. If you've got anything out of it, please share this with your friends. Now, this is the first time I've actually run this format. First thing is, and I know most of you are watching this on the replay, but I'd love to get your feedback, particularly those that have done one of my other challenges before. What did you love about this challenge? What did you feel like you wanted to find out more from, you know, previous challenges that we've dropped off from this one? Let me know your feedback, both good and bad. I want a balanced perspective. And this is the very first time that I've run it, so I'd love to know your thoughts. And the other thing is as well is that we will be running this again very, very soon. Not next week, but the following week, starting the 12th of February. So we'll be running this free 3-day challenge again, starting the 12th of Feb. If you've got anything out of this, all I would ask of you is let me know what you loved, what you didn't love, and also invite your friends. You know, I've done this for free. All I'm asking of you is that if you got anything out of this, that you just share this with your friends, add them to the big Facebook group, you know, share my details so that they can jump on and be on the next challenge. You know, and when you guys do this, it enables me to keep operating and doing this and extending this for free. So thank you so much for being here. I'm just going to open up the lines just quickly. Beck, Kathy, Serena, did any of you have any questions about everything that we've covered so far? Kathy, you're becoming a veteran at this stuff, so you're all good to go. Beck, did you have any questions? No, okay. And Serena, I'm taking that you're all good. So thank you all so much for for being here on this 3-day challenge, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you all shine and start manifesting like absolute, I don't know, absolute diamonds. Okay, take care everyone. Thanks so much for being here. Bye.